Thanks, Monica. A Long Island lab will begin testing for coronavirus on Friday. Northwell Health Labs in Lake Success received authorization this week to process hundreds of tests daily, with a plan to test thousands daily very soon. 90 patients are expected to be tested Friday. Meanwhile, in Atlanta, a lab is working on a coronavirus vaccine. Scientists say 3 vaccines should be ready for animal trials in a few weeks. If those trials are successful, the vaccine could be available to the public in a few years. Joining me now, Dr. Eric Choi Pena, who is with Northwell Health. Good to see you, Doc. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Let's first talk about the vaccine. People hear a few years, but they're worried about getting this in a few days.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just not how vaccines work. The process of developing a vaccine is first through these animal trials where we find a vaccine candidate that potentially may work, but we still don't know that it's safe and effective. And really what those human trials do over the 12 to 18 months that would be the fastest possible scheme that we would do it is determine safety and efficacy.
So tell me about the test.
So the actual taking of the patient's sample is actually not that complicated. It's actually a swab that goes in the nose and down the back of the throat. It's the same kind of test we use for the flu. What's complicated about it is because this test hasn't existed for very long, up until very recently, all we were doing was a manual test. So we were basically taking the sample, and a lab technician would have to go through the entire testing process by hand, which really limited us to about 80 or 90 samples per day. With the lab at Northwell now being able to semi-automate that test, we can get up to a couple of hundred samples per day. And then when we fully automate it, basically you put the cartridge on a machine and walk away, and the test gets done. That's the great thing. That's when we get to thousands a day.
Let me ask you real quick, Doc, as we close out, just talk about the spread of this, how contagious it is. Is it as contagious as the flu?
I think we don't really know for sure yet, but it definitely has the potential to be as contagious as the flu.
Thank you, Doc. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.